don't really get to hear from brands के आपकी activation की वजह से we had so and so or such an increase in market share. And honestly, it isn't always just activation. It's always a 360 degree. It isn't always just experiential marketing. It's a 360 degree plan. So one consumer might get to see your brand ambassador and receive your sample at a retail store, but she's also listening to your message on the radio, watching it on TV, reading about it in the newspaper. So you can't really tell that how much of it had to do with activation, but talkability and awareness is one measure that you can really gauge the effectiveness or the success of a brand activation campaign about. For instance, just to quote an example, when Minute Maid did the lanterns on trees, there was a lot of talkability about it because it was the first time that it had been done, and just because it was an innovative thing to do, the brand got a lot of recall and awareness. And I remember reading articles on blogs and different magazines about, oh, have you seen the lights on trees? So that was just one of the examples. So I can't really comment on market share because I'm sure there's a proper team in place that sits down and after an entire campaign, not just BTL, monitors the increase in growth of the market share. But awareness and talkability is something that activations definitely give you. The biggest problem that I think, or challenge rather, that brands are faced with as far as experiential marketing is concerned, is dependability on your brand ambassadors. Let's say that's just one of the things. With the TV ad, there isn't so much that can go wrong. You have a lot of chances to shoot it, to get it perfect, and then put it on air. But with a brand ambassador, who is a person that you hire and train and then put in a uniform to represent you in a store, in an event, wherever, because there's a human factor involved to it, there's so much that can go wrong with it. Maybe they're not feeling well, so they're just they're not performing up to their optimum level that they've been trained to do. Maybe she's in a bad mood, so that's reflecting in her engagement. And these are things that really need a lot of quality assurance from our end. Uniforms, not ironed, these are just very small things, but an unironed uniform can leave a bad impression on your consumer, and that just might be one person in the entire target group. But see, that's the thing with brand activation. You do something right, there'll be a lot of positive word of mouth for it. But if there's one consumer that walks away with a bad experience just because one of your brand ambassadors was having a bad day, then that's bad news for the entire campaign effectiveness. So that's one problem. And honestly, how we take care of it is through constant back checking, quality assurance, but that's one thing that always stays there, dependency on others, on somebody else to deliver your brand message live. One more issue, and considering our current political and the conditions that we have in Pakistan at this point, activations is all about being on ground, being on the roads, being out in parks, being at retail stores, having a float that's running around, creating a hype. With the growing security concern, there might be a change in that particular landscape, because if people aren't secure, being out on outdoor locations, on roads, your activation campaign might not be as effective as it can be when people are in a more positive and positive state of mind. So I think that's one of the things that might cause a problem, and are causing a problem currently for brand activations. And how you take care of it, basically the future of activations, I think that's what the cost of experiential marketing versus conventional marketing. So the most common term that's used to gauge the cost effectiveness of any campaign is the per contact cost. And it's important to realize that all of us know that experiential marketing does have a significantly higher per contact cost compared to conventional advertising, because you don't get the same number of impressions that you do from airing an ad, for the simple reason that you're not speaking to masses. It's intended to go to targeted individuals. You're intentionally going and speaking to a few 100,000 women and not speaking to the millions of the mass population. So yes, it will always have a higher per contact cost. So for impact activations, well, as I was commenting on the future of, I was trying to talk about the future of activations. Given that, well, not just the security constraints, we need to understand that our target group is now moving towards digital. Everybody is moving towards digital. The youth, especially. So, where you could target youth at places like Area 51 earlier, you now find them sitting on Facebook most of the time, even when they're on the go, be it mobile, laptops, whatever. We just now understand that our consumer is found online more than anywhere else. So it's very important to be and to incorporate, to be present online, to be present digitally, and as far as impacts plans to have a digital leg are concerned, at the moment, no. We do partner with other digital agencies at this point, and but we make sure that they are a part of the plan wherever it's relevant. So for a youth brand like, let's say, D-Juice, it's very important to be online, to have online presence. For a brand like Cornetto, it's very important to have online presence, but not necessarily for a brand like Canol, where you're targeting the housewife. So yes, digital is a major part of any brand activation campaign, which means 360-degree activation of a brand, and we do work with digital partners at this point. There is already a rise in brand activation agencies. Every other month, I think I hear another name of another BTL agency which has mushroomed, and for the simple reason that not only is it something that it's a good business for activation agencies, but as I mentioned, this used to be a brand new industry about 10 years ago, but now there's a lot of scope involved. Not only do consumers expect that kind of attention, but brands are now realizing that brand activation does have BTL, and experiential marketing does have that kind of power in changing consumer perceptions. So the future of activations does look pretty promising for agencies and brands alike. I would strongly advise that before you try and look for a fancy job at an FMCG or a bank or wherever it is that young business graduates aspire to be, you get your fair share of training by working at an agency, be it activation, be it digital, be it ATL. But for the simple reason that when you're on the agency side and not on the client side, you get to learn a lot. You get to experience all the different types of clients that you might have. In my case, we had OMCs, we had FMCGs, we had tobacco companies, we had beverage giants like Coca-Cola. So there hasn't been a single day where I haven't learned anything, and I'm very confident now once I move to the brand side, I will take with me a very rich experience from different industries. So it just adds to your learning curve, and this is just the starting of your career, so you have a long way to go. Jumping into brand from day one, or a brand like job from day one is obviously something that every graduate is very excited to be doing, but you need to put in your time and get your fair share of training. So it's worked for me, and I would advise young graduates like yourself to explore it. Not 4 years. Let's not say 4 years, but put in some time to learn before you go into it.